Jerusalem, one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world, a holy city for three major religions. For the Jews, it is where their temple once stood. For Christians, it is where Jesus Christ was crucified. For Muslims, it is where Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven. In this episode, we will explore the holy sites in Jerusalem. Join me, won't you? Jerusalem has been the setting for many stories in the Bible. It is traditionally believed that the Virgin Mary was born in Jerusalem. This site marks the spot. The final week in the life of Jesus unfolded right here in Jerusalem. After raising Lazarus from the dead, Jesus returned to Jerusalem on a Palm Sunday. The crowd here praised and threw their cloaks on the road in front of him and shouted, "Hosanna! Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord." Halfway down the western slope of the Mount of Olives is a little church shaped like a teardrop. This is the Church of Dominus Flevit. Dominus Flevit means the Lord wept in Latin, and this is where it is believed that Jesus wept over the fate of Jerusalem as he prophesied its future destruction. The four corners of the dome have tear vials. Behind the altar is the much photographed window overlooking the city of Jerusalem. Across the valley is the Temple Mount. The second Jewish temple, built by Herod the Great, is also the setting for stories from the Gospels. It was here Jesus was presented as a baby. At 12 years of age, after the annual Passover pilgrimage, Jesus was found among the teachers, listening and asking them questions. Jesus then clears the commerce in the temple, stating, "My house is a house of prayer, but you have made it a den of thieves." Just as Jesus prophesied, the temple was destroyed in 70 AD by the Romans. Today, Jewish people venerate the western wall as the sole remnant of the temple. Here, in addition to prayers, Jews express grief over the destruction of the temple, giving the wall its other name, the Wailing Wall. There is hope though. On the eastern side, this is the Golden Gate, which is now sealed. It is through here Jews expect their Messiah to enter the temple. The Last Supper was the meal Jesus shared with his apostles the night before he died. During the meal, he instituted the Eucharist. The Cenacle on Mount Zion is where the Last Supper is commemorated. The Cenacle is on the upper floor of a two-storied building and is located on top of a Jewish shrine venerated as the tomb of King David. This site is not universally accepted as the location of the upper room. Another competing site is the Syrian Orthodox Church of St. Mark, which also claims to possess the upper room. After the Last Supper, Jesus and his disciples went to the Mount of Olives. At the foot of the Mount of Olives is the Garden of Gethsemane. Gethsemane means oil press in Aramaic. Turns out 3 of the olive trees here are ancient olive trees, among the oldest known to science. In the garden, Jesus asks his followers to stay awake as he went to pray. The Church of All Nations, also known as the Basilica of Agony, was constructed in 1924 over a rock on which Jesus is believed to have prayed in agony the night before he was arrested. On the facade of the church, the triangular pediment has a mosaic that depicts Jesus as a mediator between God and humans. The Church of All Nations gets its name because many countries contributed to the cost of its construction. The atmosphere inside the church is designed to be somber. In front of the huge altar is a flat outcrop of rock, which is traditionally identified as the Rock of Agony, where Jesus prayed. This is where Jesus was arrested. After being arrested, Jesus was taken to the house of Caiaphas. These steps is said to have been trodden by Jesus as he made his way up to the house of Caiaphas. This is the Church of St. Peter in Gallicantu. Constructed in 1931, this church is said to be built over the house of the high priest Caiaphas. Gallicantu means cock's crow, and this church also commemorates the site where St. Peter denied knowing Jesus 3 times. Under the church is a dungeon thought to have been the cell Jesus was detained the night he was arrested. The Via Dolorosa, also known as the Grief Way or the Way of Suffering, marks the stations of the cross. Each station represents an event starting from the condemnation of Jesus Christ and ending with his crucifixion and burial. Although it has been accepted by the faithful over centuries, it is unlikely that Jesus used this route to make his way for his crucifixion. The walls of Jerusalem we see today were rebuilt in 1541 by the Ottoman ruler Suleiman the Magnificent. The practice of following the Stations of the Cross appears to have been developed in Europe amongst Christians who couldn't travel to the Holy Land. The Via Dolorosa we see today was established in the 18th century with 14 stations, but some stations were added only in the 19th century. 9 of the 14 stations are based on Gospels, while the other 5, like Jesus meeting with his mother or Veronica wiping his face, are traditional. The last 5 stations of the cross are at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Three days after being buried, Jesus rose from the dead and appeared to his followers. Our last stop today is the Church of the Dormition. The Church of the Dormition, located on Mount Zion, is traditionally believed to be the place where the Virgin Mary died. The church was constructed in 1910 and looks like a fortress with a conical roof and 4 corner towers. In the crypt below lies the life-size statue of Mary. The excavations in Jerusalem never end. Who knows what treasures are waiting to be uncovered in the holy city of Jerusalem. Hey folks, I hope you enjoyed that video. Let me know by smashing that like button or by dropping a line in the comment section below. If you enjoy documentaries, please consider subscribing. I'll be back soon with another video. Until then, stay safe. Oh, and do check out my second channel too.